Hello and welcome back to the Computational Genomics Lab. Today we are going to install RStudio on your local machine. This will be the same procedure if you're doing a Mac or a PC. It's free, it's awesome, it's an IDE, and it allows us to code in R, look at our files, look at our outputs. It'll do a bunch of things and we'll go over all of that right now. Okay, so let's open a browser here and we will go to, I'm just going to type in install RStudio, and it's RStudio Desktop is the technical term, I guess, for it. And here we can see, we'll accept all the cookies, and I'm on a Mac, so I'll do this. You can also just search for install. It's here. There's Windows exe files here, and I'm just going to click this. And that's going to download into my downloads folder. It's going to take just a second. And then once we install it, we'll go over what all the windows mean and how to clone back in your class. So you've already made a class repository using our Git Hub skills. And then we're going to just open up a new project in that folder. And then any work we do on RStudio will update automatically to our GitHub. Okay, so it looks like it's just about done here. Okay, it's ready to go. I'm just gonna click that, and it wants me to drag it into my applications folder, so I'll do that. And then we'll go into that applications folder, and I can see RStudio right here. Open it up. And there we go. And you have already had to have installed R. We did that in a previous video, and I'll put the links in the description. Also, the instructions for this are on the GitHub. Also put that link in there. And welcome, here we are. Here's RStudio. Okay, and so just as a first sort of look at this, here in this panel is our console. And that's where you can type in R code directly here. We don't have any packages installed, so we're going to do that next. And then over here you have your file manager system, and I have been working in the documents folder. Let's go back here. Where did Genomics, sorry, is where I've had, and I have the master class. So there's the class folder. So in here you can just navigate around your computer like you normally would in this panel. If you make plots over here in the console, they're going to show up in this plots pane here, and you can export them as figures. And if you want to install some packages, which we're going to do in a little bit, you can do it via here, or you can do it via the R prompt. The R prompt is this little triangle thing here that we can type in more code. And so if we go back to here where we can navigate our files, like if I want to go back to home or Genomics or inside masterclass into lessons, etc., you can see here there's a panel of where you are. And so let's just go back to masterclass here. And this more button is awesome. Okay, so you're going to want to use this more button quite a bit. And I'm going to go back to here to masterclass actually. And I can see that I've already made a project in here because I'm doing this on Fiji. So in order for the purposes of this class, I'm going to make a new folder called video here. And I'm going to go into that, and that's where I'm going to clone the class repository. Okay, so what we want to look in this more button here, and there's a few cool things. This copy path to clipboard is great because I can say copy this, and then if I want to open a terminal, I can open a new terminal wherever I am. So this says open new terminal here. And now I'm at a bash terminal. So here we have the console for R, and now the terminal for bash. And I can paste in, and that copy path to clipboard tells me where I am. This becomes more useful once you get deeper into your folders and you're doing a bunch of analyses and you're down many directories. Then you can copy the path into an R script and have it load from there. But you can directly get that from copy file path to folder. But the most important thing I want to show you here is set as working directory here. So it said set working directory to home directory, genomics, and video is where I am right now. That's really important because if you save something, it's going to go only to where your working directory is. So you might come in on a different day and move it into a different directory and hit save on your work, and it'll go back to wherever you were previously. So I suggest always hitting that set as working directory here. And then let's say I ended up digging deep into my analyses, went in here and here, and now I'm all the way far away from where I want to be, but I can go back and go to working directory, and I'm right back here there. So lots of good functions in this more button. And then, so what about a new file? Well, here's this little plus button up here, and we can make a new markdown file. That's what you've been on the Git Hub. Those are all our markdown files. And so if we do file new R markdown file, we're gonna need to install that package. Okay, so markdown is actually a package. We will install our first package right now. I'll hit yes, and it's just gonna do it for us. This might actually take a while. So I think what we'll do is leave this running and end the video here. But what we can see, if we can get to it, let's say we want to open a new project. So what this means is, oh, nice. Okay, so that finished quite quickly. So let's make that new markdown file, our markdown, and we'll call it, you're going to name it twice, unfortunately. So we're going to call this test for video here. And then it gives you sort of the basics of an R markdown file. And what they are is you'll have this set up here. So after we install packages, we would put in the packages we need using library. For instance, tidyverse is something we're going to use a lot. And then we would run that with Control Enter, or you can highlight the line and hit run up here. I'm not going to run it because it's not installed and we'll get an error. And so that's really the main thing here. And then if you want to save it, there's this little save disk here. And so we'll hit save. And again, we have to rename it. And you can name it something different. Test for video here. And we will see that there. And now notice it's very smart, RStudio. And it said, hey, look, looks like you want to use tidyverse, but you don't have it installed. Do you want to install it? We're going to do that in a different video, but that's just to say if you're ever downloading somebody else's code and there's a package missing, RStudio is sort of smart enough to know you need it based on what's in this R markdown file. And so yeah, so this is the setup chunk here. And then R markdown is really important because it helps people follow your logic. So here we would say, today we are installing RStudio, and then we could type in a bunch of text, and then when you go to print this on your GitHub, it'll have nice formatting, and it's worth Googling R markdown, or sorry, markdown period, and different things you can do to format. It's sort of a basic text editor. Where the number of pounds, for instance, will tell you how big the letters are going to be. And you can get pretty far with just Markdown. Okay, so we know how to make a new file now. And over here in this environment is going to be really important as we make objects, which is we're going to do some R programming. And we'll make like read in a table. And that table will appear over in this thing, but just as an object, as a line. And we'll get into all that later. You can clean anything with these brooms here. So this little broom, if you're coding a lot and your environment gets really full and you want to clear it all out and start over, you can just hit this broom and it'll clean everything up. Something I recommend doing after each session. Because if there's variables left over the next time you open it, sometimes they don't work quite as well as they should. It doesn't happen often, but it's good to clean up your environment. And so let's just end this with a new project. So let's start a new project here. We're going to save our current, what we just typed in there, I guess. And it's going to bring us to a prompt here, and we're going to go from existing directory, we're going to go to this video folder where I just made that here, genomics video. Okay, that's exactly where I want. You can browse around your computer if you wanted to start a new project somewhere else. And the key thing is we made this from an existing directory. You can make it from a new directory. I would recommend that once you get more familiar with R and moving along. But it's usually best to set up a folder, get it all ready to go, and then create the project from an existing folder. So we're going to create a project, and what we can see now is in here we've made an RMD file and saved it. So we've made our first R Markdown file. We can open that again. And now we have a video.r project, and that helps R. Remember when we made Git and we had the .git file? This is kind of like a .r file that's going to remember everything we've been doing. Sometimes if the computer crashes, this will contain the information in .r history, and we are sort of good to go on a project. And what's even cooler is because I've done a Git connection, you've done the same, and has the upstream and all that good stuff, it knows what to track here. And so in this Git panel, you can click on all the things you've just done and commit them. I might have some commit issues because I'm doing this in a thing called master class, which is in a different directory. I just made this video directory. But now you can do all your git commit, git add, git commit. It adds for you automatically, then you commit. We can do that right here under this commit button. And then remember how we did -m? We would type in a message. Here is a commit from our studio. And then we can commit that and close it. And yeah, you're going to have to, so we got this error that we have untracked things, so we would have to pull first. And so if we go to our master class here and click it, and we would then pull it. But right now we're going to set up this the right way, where we go to master class, and in here again I do have an R project already, but that's from the actual server, and so I don't want to mess those two things up right now. But for today, I hope you've just seen our studio. You've got it installed. That was a breeze. How you'll be coding is in R Markdown. You can also do bash in here. These curly brackets tell it what language. So you can type in bash and say like cd video. And then people can see all your code, and you can tell them what you're doing in the Markdown above. And these gray boxes are for actual code. So it's really nice because you can type out what you're about to do, then the code, and also plots will come out in here, and that will be very nice. So people can really follow and reproduce your work by using these R Markdown files. You can type directly in here, as we saw, into R, or if you want to go to bash, you have a terminal in here, your file browsing, where to set your working directory, and the output objects up here. So that is it. We are in our studio. Congratulations. And we are going to next install a couple essential packages, and we will start coding and analyzing the data that came out of the RNAseq pipeline. All right, we'll see you in the next video.